My dear viewers and students, warm greetings from SRM Classes Patna. Today I am going to deliver my lecture on the topic entitled The Structure of India. My lecture will be focused on how the various structural features of India have evolved in the past geological time and how these features have undergone modifications on account of a number of agents of denudation which have been active the past millions of years. Let me now describe broadly. Broadly, India can be divided into three following structural units. Number one is the Southern Peninsular Plateau or Deccan Plateau. Number two, the Northern Himalayan Range. And number three, the Indo-Ganga-Brahmaputra Plain in between the Northern Himalayan Range and Southern Peninsular Plateau. You already know that we have, when we study the structure of any region, we lay emphasis on the three following points, These are, number one, type of the rocks, number two, age of the rocks, and number three, layout of the rocks. I have already given a detailed description of what do we mean by these terms. Let me now again describe these things, these points for your benefit. The types of rocks means that rocks which compose the area or region. The rocks may be igneous, sedimentary, and metamorphic. When we discuss the age of the rocks, we are concerned with the history of their formation. It means that in what geological time these rocks have come into existence and how they have faced the different types of denuding agents. By layout, we mean in which state the rocks are present. In other words, we want to know whether the rocks are folded, faulted, tilted, bended, and horizontal. Keeping these things in our mind, we will study the three main structural units of India. The first unit I would like to undertake to discuss is about the Southern Peninsular Plateau, which is the oldest formation. It is composed mainly of hard crystalline rocks like granites, gneisses, schists, etc. I have already mentioned that it is the oldest formation and belongs chiefly to the Precambrian times. As a result, the rocks have been eroded to a great extent due to the actions of a number of denuding agents. These agents have been active for millions of years. The inner hard crystalline igneous rocks of the plateau have been exposed. This plateau has faced numerous cycles of erosion since the Precambrian times, and therefore it has turned into a multi-cyclic landscape which is full of complexities. It is notable that the Deccan Plateau has remained static since the Cambrian times and has never gone below the level of the sea throughout its geological history since the Cambrian times. However, there have been folding activities in the Precambrian times on this plateau, which are reflected in the form of the upliftment of the various mountains like Aravallis, Vindhyan, Satpura, Western Ghats, and Eastern Ghats. It is believed that Aravallis were very similar to the giant Himalayas in area and height in the beginning. But at present, this is now a relic mountain because of the forces of denudation which have been active for millions of years. The height of the Aravallis is so low that these are not even able to check the monsoon winds. And what has happened? The whole area has, and the whole area surrounding the Aravallis is devoid of rain, and thus it has turned into a desert known as Thar Desert, which is also extended in Pakistan. The folding of mountains exhibit the horizontal movement of the crust during Precambrian times, but we do not know much in detail about these mountains, the formations of these mountains. The formation of Western Ghats is perhaps the result of the foundering of the Arabian Sea. The Arabian Sea was formed when a very large part of the crust got subsided with the downward vertical movement. This is why the Western Ghats appears to be like an escarpment, because we know the western slopes of the Western Ghats are very steep. The hard rocks of the Western Ghats are quite resistant to the forces of denudation. This is why the Western Ghats are much higher, and there is a great uniformity in its height from north to south. The Eastern Ghats also have been eroded to a great extent, and many of its area have been eroded completely by the rivers like Mahanadi, Godavari, Krishna and Kaveri to form large deltas. Though the Deccan Plateau has not faced any horizontal movement since the Cambrian times, yet there are evidences of vertical movement on the Deccan Plateau. The first example in favor of the vertical movement, the formation of the rift valleys of Damodar, Mahanadi, Godavari, Narmada and Tapti. These rift valleys have been formed by the downward movement of the crust along the parallel faults. You know that the rift valleys of Damodar, Mahanadi and Godavari have almost 90% of the gold deposits of the country, and the rocks are known as Gondwana systems of rocks. Damodar Valley alone contains about 50% or about half of the total coal deposits of the country. The rift valleys of Damodar, Mahanadi and Godavari mainly contain sedimentary rocks like sandstone, shale, limestone, etc. These were formed during Carboniferous and Permian periods of the Paleozoic era. The second example of vertical movement on the Deccan Plateau is reflected by the fissure eruptions of volcanic lava in the Cretaceous period of Mesozoic era. At that time, the molten volcanic lava came out on the surface and covered the major northwestern part of the Deccan Plateau, extending over almost 5 lakh square kilometers of area in Maharashtra, Gujarat, western Madhya Pradesh and northern Karnataka. The molten volcanic lava has solidified to form basalt, which is a type of volcanic igneous rock. You know that the disintegration of basalt has turned into a type of soil which is known as regar. Local name is regar, which has a great moisture retaining capacity, and because of this property, the cotton cultivation is done in that area. Other crops like groundnut is also cultivated in that area. The fissure eruptions of volcanic lava took place intermittently, which means that eruptions of lava took place at certain intervals of time. As a result, we find separate layers of basalt in this part. These layers are called intertrappean beds, and the whole region of Deccan lava is known as Deccan Lava Plateau or Deccan Traps. The Deccan Plateau has faced the horizontal thrust from the north during the upheaval of Himalayas. It's a different type of this type of movement, and this thrust was caused to the southward motion of the Eurasian plate towards the Indian plate. When the Himalayas were formed, you know that the Eurasian plate was moving towards the Deccan Plateau. And the result of this movement, the northward portion, the frontal portion of the Deccan Plateau was bended, tilted. All such examples are found in the frontal part of the Deccan Plateau. Actually, northern fringe of the Deccan Plateau, particularly Chotanagpur Plateau, shows some evidences of tilting and bending. That's all for this class, my dear students and viewers. Many thanks for a very patient hearing. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.